The pack faster than anything I've ever seen.
Taking over. Say what? Taking over. That's right. It's over. It's over. I'm making history. You can't help but remember me. The main attraction you came to see. That young brother on his KX 125 with a known reputation for taking no job. Live in 3D, live on TV, at the front of the pack. Yeah, that's where you see me. Get out the seats, throw your hands up high. Cameras flash every time I pass by. I do this for the people that be standing in line. And can they see me represent number 259? I'ma shine like the sun, all the way to number 1. They can try all they want, but I'ma get it done. Competition run like they scared of me. They doing everything they can to stay ahead of me. But see, I can't stop. And when the gates drop, I'ma take it all the way. Straight to the top, taking over. That's it. It's over. Check, please.
And we welcome you to Buchanan, Michigan for the Scott USA National round number 6. And it's all part of the Chevy Trucks U.S. Motocross Championship. And hello once again, everybody. Todd Harris along with the champ, David Bailey and Cameron Steele on a very hot and humid day. They call it the AMA U.S. Motocross Championship, but they might as well call it the Bubba's Back Tour. James Bubba Stewart has been back only 2 weeks, and he is just lighting it up. The fans have lined the track to see what he'll pull off today. Temperature 87 degrees, but the humidity 80% and a 90% chance of late showers. As we take a look at Ryan Hughes, good to see him back on board after suffering an injury to his leg. And we'll see how that holds him back, or hopefully he is recovered to the point where he can ride like the Rhino of old. Mike Brown, his arch nemesis, they've been having battles both on and off the track, and we'll see what shakes down today at historic Redbud. As we take a look at the overall standings, it's Brown, Langston, Hughes, Sorby, and Sellards, your top 5. But only 1 week back into the game, and James Stewart is already on the board, granted 17th place. But David, he has looked so good, so dominating. I think everyone's already starting to do the math. If he wins every single race down the line, can he win the title? And that is the question of the hour. What does James Stewart want to accomplish, and what can James Stewart accomplish?
You know, I'll be back. I got this weekend right now, and I got the next 7 races, and you know, we'll see. We're going to try to make up some points, but if not, you know, I feel like I'm around pretty good right now. I feel strong, and it's going to be a good race.
The kid's always smiling. He puts a smile on my face. You know, I'm thinking, I don't need coffee in the morning. I just need a little James Stewart to get me going.
And our thanks to Tony Haynes for writing and producing that song that opened up the show today. A great job there as we look at Josh Woods, KTM rider, injured, back on the circuit this week, as is Shea Bentley, number 104, back on board his Suzuki, injured in Salt Lake City during the Supercross Series. And finally, Branden Jesseman, the 125 East champion. Good to have him back, and he's with Cameron Steele.
Well, everybody, this is pretty exciting. We're loading the gate for the 125cc first moto here, and look who we have back, East Coast Supercross 125 champion, Branden Jesseman. Welcome back to racing. It's got to be good to be back on the track.
Oh, definitely. I've been riding a bit back home, and it feels great to be back here on the racetrack, you know. Just hopefully get a good start and go out there. My goal is to get top 3 this weekend, so we'll find out if I'm going to do it or not.
Well, I know you hurt your thumb, actually. First day of testing for Outdoor National Series. I know it was just before the Dave Coombs Memorial 125 race in Vegas. You haven't got the test on the outdoor track. How big a factor is that going to be, and what percentage of Branden Jesseman do we have back after the injury?
Well, I mean, yeah, I lost a little bit of testing. I wasn't able to get any done, actually, just a little bit Friday before here. Suzuki went out and we got some testing in, got the bike working really well, and but each track's a little different, so we're just gonna keep adjusting things. But you know, I've been feeling really good. My thumb doesn't bother me at all. I just been getting, you know, bike time, and I just think that after this first moto, I'll kind of know where I stand and go from there.
Well, cool confidence from Branden Jesseman. He's ready to get going. Second place last year. We'll see how he does this year.
All right, thank you very much, Cameron Steele. As we take a look at the Suzuki starting grid, Mike Brown, Grant Langston, Ryan Hughes, and Eric Sorby all there, as is Brock Sellards and Ivan Tedesco. And we can't forget number 259, James Stewart. David, does it become a factor that you just try to do whatever you can to stay with James Stewart, or is it a foregone conclusion that he's all but gone?
I think you have to forget about the guy and just ride the best you can.
Well, this is Moto number 1 from Redbud, the 125 class, and we're off and racing. great start, came to the inside line, and that seemed to be where everyone wanted to go. And it'll be number 18 on board the Yamaha, Brock Sellards, who will take them into the green flag lap.
That's pretty nerve-wracking for Branden Jesseman. The last time he did a start, there were only 20 riders at the gate for Supercross. Double that. It's going to be really interesting to see where he finds himself in this pack, because he left off last year giving Reed a lot of problems and running with Stewart here and there. Definitely number 2 in the field, and there's not that many people added. If anything, there's a few people missing, like Chad Reed, so Branden should be able to get up in there, but man, these Yamaha Troy guys figure out how to get off the gate. Sellards especially, man. He can just surprise you, not really shine that much in practice, come out, get a great start, and just check out like this. He's so good at getting a good start. Brock Glover was like that when I used to race against him.
Number 18, Brock Sellards, your leader on board the Yamaha. Number 2, in the second position, that is 52, Hot Sauce Ivan Tedesco. So as David Bailey pointed out, the Yamaha's looking good. And look at Brock Sellards getting bogged down there in that massive rut. It's like the Grand Canyon out there. He's able to get his bike free and off and running. The best thing he can do, David, is check out as the battle for fourth now heats up.
Trying to get his way around the outside of Metcalf.
Oh, my.
You know, I was going to say, but he's not going to make that work. Not against Metcalf through there, but I was wrong. And this is the first race for a fellow named Jeff Montgomery. They call him Iron, a friend of mine. Met him through triathlons and stuff. And he became another manager. I don't know if he's actually what the official title is, but he is assisting with Yamaha of Troy now to help keep these riders in tip-top shape, as well as with a good game plan. And his first race out of the blocks, they're running 1-2, so congratulations to Jeff.
Somewhat of a surprise that James Stewart sits in 4th place, number 259. Not used to seeing him with a lot of roost on the front, and he didn't really recognize him. Talking to our good buddy Warren Johnson over at Fox, when you're the best rider in the world, you get the newest gear, and he is running the brand new 04 Tactic gear. So James Stewart flying some new colors for Fox. They say it's available in the stores in the fall, but when you're James Stewart, you get everything early.
Yep, not quite as pretty cool. No zebra stripes on this outfit, though. And just looking at what he was able to make another pass. You know, riders are going, hey, it's one line. They prep the track weird. It's wet. You can't go fast. He made a line. That wasn't even really much of a line. He just went from a berm that was sort of there into another one that must have been there from practice, and then just jumped right back into the main groove to make his pass. Didn't touch the guy. And, you know, the thing amazing about Stewart is pretty much every rider, 250 or 125, watches James really to see what can be done out there on a motorcycle. He is the bar.
James Bubba Stewart, number 259, closing in on Brock Sellards. That's the section where Sellards had problems earlier, able to get through that. And Sellards now riding maybe the best he's ridden all year, because James is right behind him and he's just totally pushing. Brock's got nowhere to go. He's got to throttle down.
There should be like a clock ticking, you know, ticking down. How long can he stay in front of James Stewart? It's like bull riding, man. Can he stay on for 8 seconds? Can he hold this guy off for another 8 seconds? My money's on James.
Well, he made quick work of Ivan Tedesco, and as you pointed out before, we're talking no slouches out there, and just like that, the 8 seconds for bull riding and James Stewart chasing is over. James Stewart, your new leader. Number 259 takes over the lead here in moto number 1.
And he did that through the mud. He's like, you know, Brock's out there in the good line, and James is like, well, I know it's pretty muddy here on the inside, but man, if I can get through that, keep it on 2 wheels, it'll be good for the lead. He got tired of pulling tearaways and stuff. Now he's got a clear track and to take the lines he wants to take. Look at this. He's coming over the tunnel jump. You can see exactly his intentions when he was angled in the air down the inside. Look at the balance. Trying to keep from hitting those hay bales. Threading the needle. Sellards knows it. Tries to cut back to the inside. Yeah, I don't think so.
Amazing, because James did not even touch the brake until he got to the apex of the turn. Meanwhile, everyone else is dropping a leg and tapping the brakes. We go back to the battle for 5th, and there's Branden Jesseman, number 26, getting around Metcalf. Branden Jesseman, the 125 East Supercross champion this year, as David pointed out, and Cameron talked to him. Injuries have hampered him, but it's good to see him back on the track.
Yeah, I mean, he's fast. Up in the top 5 now. He can see a few riders up ahead of him. He can't see James Stewart, I guarantee you. Our cameraman missed the cast for Tedesco. I mean, things are happening with him. We talked about that at Bud's Creek. It's happening so fast. It's tough for us to keep up sometimes. You think, oh, okay, let's stay on this battle, and he'll probably catch that guy by there. By the time you get to that, it's already over.
McCoy, Branden Jesseman's mechanic, he said earlier to Cameron Steele how excited Branden was about getting back. And you made a good point, David. Branden Jesseman is extremely fast. If we take a look at Darrell Hurley, who now sits in fourth.
Yeah, usually when you sit out a little bit, you know, you can practice and you can be fast all during the week. When you get into a race, your heart rate jumps up quite a bit just because of the adrenaline of everybody there, the crowd, the pressure, your expectations, and you can't always ride exactly like you were during the week. But here, it's like to me, Branden was fitting right in.
Well, there's fitness and there's race fitness, and I think Branden Jesseman is starting to realize he may spend some time on the treadmill, but it's different when you're out here on the track. Jeremy Albrecht casually strolls out. James, you've got an 8-second lead. Nice job. We'll be back to Red Bud in just a moment. And we are back to Red Bud, round number 6, Scott USA National. Todd Harris along with David Bailey and Cameron Steele. And of course, our good friend James Bubba Stewart, who's out there just lighting up the track here. David, he gets faster and faster every week, and everyone else in the class has got to find a way to keep up with him or just even keep him within vision.
What they need to do is just show up to the starting line for the second moto with a Sharpie. Just get his autograph. You know, because when he beats you, you can't even really be bummed out because he's so good. You know, if you're in the 250 class or any other racer out there that I can think of, if they beat you, you can be like, man, you know what? I should have... What the heck is Tedesco doing? He blew that whole section. And that's what I mean. Like, most riders are normal. You know, you see a mistake here and there, and if you get beat, you're like, well, I should have ridden harder. When you get beat by Stewart, the thing about Stewart, the two things that impressed me. One is we haven't even seen all of his speed. We only see it all occasionally when he's got to make up time. Second is that every great rider, when they were young, we saw that they were going to get a lot better. You know, we see that now. With James, he's at the beginning still. He's going to get even faster. And this is Tedesco just messing up this entire section. And that lets Jesseman just jump right to the inside of him, no problem for the pass.
So Branden Jesseman moves into third. That pushes Ivan Tedesco, number 52, back to fourth place. Meanwhile, Brock Sellards continues to run in second, and James Bubba Stewart is your leader here at Moto number 1.
I was wondering where Brown was.
Mike Brown making contact right there with Anderson. Anderson takes a look back. What is going on? Brown is all over the back of him. Meanwhile, Branden Jesseman has gone up the track, and he has just reemerged.
What a bummer for Jesseman. He'd worked so hard to get all the way up into the top 3. Now he's got to do it all again. But the championship's out of reach anyway, so at least this way he gets to race with everybody. Should just make it some fun instead of looking at it as a bummer.
Jesseman gets around Mike Brown. Anderson right in front of him. Meanwhile, Shea Bentley from Team ECC Suzuki is out and on the side.
I don't see anything really wrong there. He might just realize he's not ready yet.
Craig Anderson, number 109, looking right over. Great shot there with Branden Jesseman. And Jesseman will move up another spot.
Good line from Jesseman, too. They just go off in the air, and it's almost like they had the agreement. Jesseman's like, okay, I'm going to come from the outside, go into the inside berm, so you better let off, okay?
Meanwhile, Mike Brown, the overall leader in the 125 class, is having all kinds of problems. He just cannot make much advance. Finally gets on the outside of Craig Anderson. Anderson's not giving up easy. Brown now moves into 8th place.
I can't figure out Anderson. You know, I mean, he won Southwick. He deserved it. It wasn't a fluke. But then you see him at other times, it didn't look very fast at all. Here he was just getting into the berm. Brown was in there trying to, like, come on, man, I got to get by this guy. Here he is again trying to get by. Just create a little something different. Going around the outside of him there would put him on the inside into the next corner, and it finally worked.
This is the battle for 7th. Mike Brown, Branden Jesseman. Jesseman, number 26, on board the Suzuki. Nice inside turn. Squares it off beautifully, and here comes Brown on the inside.
Finally gets by Jesseman. Something tells me that's not over yet. So Brown's struggling to try to get up to the front. Meanwhile, Stewart running away with these things, and if Brown and Langston continue to run this far back in the pack.
So Mike Brown now sits in 7th place, the overall leader in the 125 class. With that, let's check in with Cameron Steele, who's down on Mechanics Row.
Brad, tough start. It seems like it's really tough for everybody to pass out there. Do you and Mike talk about that before the moto?
Yeah, we did. We kind of chose the tire for the track and not the start. You know, that's the way Mark wanted to go. And unfortunately, Mark's just gone down, so we'll see where he comes around next time.
Thanks.
Well, Mike Brown goes down, gives up 3 or 4 valuable positions. Fortunately, David, he kept the bike running. Not going to have to kick it over to the muck. Mike Brown is back up and running, though, but back in the pack.
Another look at what happened to Mike. He gets into the rut, doesn't have enough power. You don't have the power and the momentum to keep you in that rut. This is what happens. Washes out, went down. He did a good job to keep it running and to keep that bike laid over and out of the main line as riders kept coming by. Ryan Hughes was one of those. And that's important for the points championship.
The king of Supercross is also a very accomplished motocross rider. In fact, the 1995 AMA 250 Outdoor Championship might be the one that Showtime is the proudest of attaining. While Supercross always seemed to come easy to the 7-time 250 champion, the Outdoor Nationals were something that McGrath had to work at to get the results he wanted. MC got his first outdoor win on a 125 in 1993 and then captured his first 250 outdoor moto win the following season at Troy. McGrath would get his first overall at the 1995 season opener at Gainesville and built on it to claim the first 250 title for Team Honda, standing atop the podium 7 times. Showtime went on to record 72 250 Supercross wins and 17 national outdoor victories to sit atop the record books with 89 wins and 8 national titles. He announced his retirement this past January, but is still very active around the sport while participating in local races and other promotional events. When not racing, McGrath likes to hang out around the water or at his home in Southern California with his wife, Kim. And we welcome you back to Budds Creek, Buchanan, Michigan, in the Scott USA National. Todd Harris along with David Bailey and Cameron Steele. This is the battle for ninth in Moto number 1 in the 125 class. Your leader, James Bubba Stewart.
Looks like Eric Sorby going by, then Jesseman. And Rhino has made the pass, so he is working his way up.
And look at that lap time for James Stewart, a 2:38. No one's even coming close to that, David.
And no one's going to. The best lap they could ever hope to have would be probably a 2:39. And I think James, if he had to, if there was anybody near the guy and he had to really push hard. Oh! Wait, we didn't see that. Shh, go past that.
Unbelievable. We're starting to pour on the accolades on James Bubba Stewart. He shows that he's partially human. Well, he gets a face full of roost and does similar to what Mike Brown did.
You know, but even when he falls right in front of the astrophetical guys, just in case there's a problem. He does everything right. I didn't even want to comment on that either.
Yeah, and I'm sure the boys at Fox, Warren Johnson's got some special knee pad working through those pants for him.
But, you know, going back to what I was saying about him is that if he had pressure, I think we could see a 237 or something, or a 236 out of the kid. It's just amazing. And when he gets on a 250 and has some power, that's going to be absolutely scary to watch.
As we take a look at Brian Gray in 12th place, let's talk about that. A lot has been bantered about James Stewart making the jump. A lot of impatient people. There's Grant Langston, number 111, on board the KTM. A lot of anxious people wondering why he hasn't made the jump. And for me, in my 2 cents, I say stay where you are, win as many titles as you can in 125, because once he goes to 250, David, there's nowhere else to go.
Yeah, you might as well go ahead and ride that wave to the beach. And I think the beach is this winter. And next summer, you know, when the season begins, he should probably look at Rhino just dicing his way down the inside, picks up another position, points. He's starting to put some points on Mike Brown now, but I think Stewart, you're right. We should let him wait, let him do things at his own time, but I think he understands also that the longer he waits to get on the 250, the more his value is probably going to go up because it's going to be such an anticipated debut.
Craig Anderson, meanwhile, sits in 10th place, having all kinds of problems. His consistency has not been where he wants to be. Right now, Grant Langston from South Africa on board his KTM is all over the back of him. Truly an international battle going on here. The 2 Southern Hemisphere riders, and this time it's Langston who gets the inside line in the better move.
Yeah, what set that up was just a beautiful flight over the Morocco's leap. I mean, he hit that jump so fast and used his body so much. Beautiful flight right there as well. He stayed low. He angled the bike perfect, so he got all the power out of the downside of that landing, and that was it for the pass.
Final lap for James Bubba Stewart. He is your leader in Moto number 1. And let's not forget, for those who want to push this kid farther and faster and into newer classes, he just got his braces off recently. He's still pretty young.
Yeah, he's got a ways to go, and he's just having fun. And his friend Tony Haynes is writing the music for him. You know, it's a full-on tour for this kid. Everywhere they go, I mean, from the time he gets out on the track in practice until he gets back on the plane and goes home, just every time you see him, he's either stylish, nice, amazing, fast, spectacular. There's something always going on. Here comes the jump. See? But something's always happening. It just makes you go, when is James coming back out?
It is the James Bubba Stewart show, and it has been that way today at Redbud. First moto goes into the books, and as David Bailey said, a lot of folks might want to get out the Sharpie and get his autograph while you can. This kid is one hot commodity. Still to come, Moto 2 Plus outside the lines when we return. Terry Miller, Carl Patterson, and Gene Ritchie gave birth to Redbud Track and Trail in 1973, and today that dream turns 30. The National, with a neighborhood atmosphere, has hosted all of the sport's biggest names over the years. Mark Barnett, Doug DeMocus were the first of what has been a long line of locals to make it big. As the sport grew, so did the track. And a lot has changed in the last 30 years, but the one remaining constant is one of those 3 men that started his dream.
I'm real proud of my dad for just starting the whole thing. No, this was his dream, and it was easy for us to take over because we were raised this way and we learned from him, and it was already here, but I have so much respect for him starting it. That's a whole different thing, you know. That's really cool.
I had a track in Indiana, a small track for 7 years, and I just loved the sport so much, and I've always dreamt of having what we're having here this weekend. That was my goal in life, and that's how it come about, I guess. Living a dream.
I've been here for a lot of years, since I was 5 and 6 years old on a mini bike, and have seen all the changes from when you signed up in a little bus over at the side of the track, and Big Gene was standing on the bus yelling at everybody. He's changed a bunch in the years too, but they've put into it a lot. You know, the facility, the changes they've made over the last 8 years in the facility has made it the best facility, the best racetrack.
It's come a long ways, but when you're growing up with it, it's a slow progression, and you see it all the time, and you don't see it jumping. If you walk away from a full out, come back, you see the big jump. If you're here all the time, it's a pretty slow progression, a pretty gradual change, really, over 25 years.
We're proud of it. We work hard, and we have a really good crew, and I think I bought like 300 staff shirts for this race, and we always say you have to have a lot of friends and family to run a national, because there are so many people that help, and they all make us look good, so it works out. We're lucky.
Well, as James Stewart gets ready for Moto number 2 here at the Scott USA National, we want to remind you that we've had a change in the schedule. The Troy event has been tentatively rescheduled for September 6th and 7th of this year, so check your local listings and travel plans accordingly. Right now, let's send it down to Cameron Steele, who's with our Moto 1 winner.
Well, folks, James Stewart, 3 in a row, and has come back to motocross. James, you didn't get the whole shot. Was it tough to pass? A lot of guys are talking about it being one-lined out there.
Yeah, you know, the people here at Redbud, the track crew, you got to give it up to them. It rained a lot yesterday, and Friday night, and those guys did a great job. Yeah, it's a little tough to pass out here, you know. It's a little one-lined from the rain and stuff, but, you know, got a pretty bad start. It wasn't that great. My bike hopped out of neutral right before I went off, and I was kind of freaking out, and I kind of got my loss of concentration, but, you know, I'm going to come back to second moto, try to change that, and be good.
Is it hard to develop strategies about tires and such? Because it seems like on the jumps, there's lots of traction. There's not really a lot of rust, but in the corners, it looks like soup, basically.
Yeah, I mean, basically, like, some of the tracks is real, like, kind of dry, but the rest of it's kind of loose and stuff. And I went down, actually, over there. I had, like, a 35-second lead and went down. And, you know, a couple lappers, you know, got my front end on a hard pack and slid out. But, you know, Bridgestone tires and everybody was working good. And, you know, I'm going to see what I got in the next moto. I'm going to try to calm it down a little bit.
Great job. Great heel clicker, too.
All right, thanks, Cameron. Let's see you guys.
All right, thank you very much, James, for your time. As we take a look at the Honda official results, it's Stewart by a mile, and then the rest of the crew comes through. There's Sorby checking in at 6th. Ryan Hughes gets a 7th, and a good run for him. Right now, let's send it back down to Cameron Steele, who's on the podium with our second-place finisher, Brock Sellards.
Well, Brock got off to a great start, a hole shot. James ended up getting by you. Where did he get by you, and, you know, were the track conditions a problem?
Just one of the step downs over there. There's a real long straightaway, and I went to the outside to sweep across the mud. He went down the inside. He just had a better line, and he had me passed. I didn't even see him coming.
What's the difference with James maybe in this moto or even last race? Is he just not making mistakes? Are you guys going that fast, but you got to catch yourself once in a while?
Yeah, he's just on another level above us right now, and he's corner speed's unbelievable, and he makes mistakes, but he keeps his momentum up. And you know, I've been trying to work on that at home, watching him on TV and stuff, and trying to pick up some pointers, and hopefully sooner or later I can catch him.
We'll see. It'll be fun in the second moto.
All right, thanks a lot.
It's good to know that Ivan Tedesco's even watching our shows, David. Right now, it's time for this week's edition of the Racer X Pit Pass. Return to Redbud. It's the Sorby Suzuki Fast Lap and Moto number 2 in the 125 class. Stay with us.
Well, guys, we're in between motos here, and it's time for the Sorby Suzuki Fast Lap. I'm hanging out over here at the AMA merchandise tent. I think everybody here is psyched for Redbud, right? Yeah, they're all having a good time. The one thing you got to know about Redbud is, well, it's been raining and it's really ruddy, which means a guy from California like me has a hard time getting through ruts like, yo deep, but there's also big jumps. The guys are going to be flying, and what does it mean when you come to Redbud? Larocco's Leap. You guys ready to go riding? Let's go and do it! This is the beginning of the track and the start. Left-hand turn right here to the left. Come in. You're going to have to pick your line. It's a banked right-hand turn. It's been raining. Kind of soft. Slippery corners. Look at this. Pick a line. Ruts are deep. To be sliding through the track. You guys, I'm moving around. Downhill. Tabletop jump. I didn't get it this time, but look at the ruts. You got to pick a line and go. Take the left-hander over double jump, then a right, and you're going to head into the uphill. Off-camber left-hand turn, drop back down into some heavy braking bumps. A right-hand turn, take you back up onto this bank turn and set up for the doubles. First up here is a triple jump, then a right-hand turn, and that's going to take you into the double-double section. Stepping up the hill, left-hand turn, little jump, back down to the right, and then another hard left turn. This is the S section. Then wide open over a baby tabletop, into the rut, the banked right, and then off left in the uphill, headed for the tabletop step down. From there, you're going to a left-hand turn, lots of different lines here. We'll see how it shapes up. And then a right-hand that's kind of tight. It takes you into the weirdest whoop section. It's uphill, and there's not really any lips, so you kind of skim the first two and try to double-double. That is if you really are on your game. And then a hard right down the hill, and that's going to take you into Larocco's Leap. Cheating a little bit, I'm going to jump in behind Ricky Carmichael. Look how fast he goes. He's running away. Larocco's Leap. Oh, how's the whiff? He's just landing as I'm doubling. Scary. After the leap, we're going to make a hard left turn and go into a downhill tabletop, and then a high banking ride into the last big jump of the track. Out of this high bank, I'll kind of pull. Look at this guy. Coming on the inside, it's a floaty tabletop to the right. That's Scott Metz, one of the privateers. You can see the track holds up on the jumps, but then you get in here in the turn, the left-hander, it's rutted. And then this is going to be your final right-hand turn. Pick a clean line. tabletop coming up. Finish line, that's your Sorby Suzuki fast lap here at Red Bud.
All right, thank you, cameras. We take a look at our Suzuki starting grid. James Stewart, Sellards, Tedesco, Smith, and Brett Metcalf all there. Ryan Mills back in the running, and Steve Boniface on board his KTM. David, last year's winner in the 125 class, James Bubba Stewart. If you were a betting man, which I know you're not, pretty hard to bet against him here in the second moto.
Yeah, you just put him out of your mind. Forget it. There's a 30-second board. Sideways now. You just got to race amongst yourself. I thought the big news was Ryan Hughes beating both Brown and Langston.
This is moto number 2. We'll see if Ryan Hughes can pick up some more points. The overall leader right now in the series is Mike Brown. And once again, another great start for Yamaha and Kelly Smith.
He had that whole shot, the whole first turn, all to himself. Usually when you get a start, you got a few guys breathing down your neck. You got to be careful from. Somebody might try to cut underneath you, but he was all alone. Gosler finally getting a good start, getting a chance to run up front. We'll see some of the speed he's got. You just don't see a guy like Gosler. Doesn't really jump out at you too much, a name that you throw around, because well, he's back in 17 playing block pass wars and stuff. Let's see what he can do now with a better start.
So it's Smith out front. Gosler was in second. Looks like he's going to yield that position up to 111. That's KTM rider Grant Langston. Currently sits in second place. A young man from South Africa riding the colors for KTM, but it's all Kelly Smith. We saw him do this in the Supercross circuit. Tremendous hole shots.
I think it's Stewart over there in the middle. It's standing up. Watch this. I wonder what was going on when he took off. I thought it might have been good enough. Uh-oh, Sorby's down. I thought it might have been good enough for, like, okay, now Stewart's got some deal where you stand up and weight the back wheel, or it didn't work, though, so forget that.
Oh, he's got the speed that he can take chances like that and try new things out. Kelly Smith, Grant Langston, 1 and 2. This is moto number 2. Kelly Smith got such a tremendous start, as you pointed out in front. And here comes the rest of the pack. James Stewart, 2:59, is currently running in 7th place. And David, we haven't said that in a long time.
Well, we're not going to have to say it very much more either.
James Stewart is on the gas, already picked up another position, so we'll see how fast he moves up. Kelly Smith, meanwhile, is your leader. Grant Langston in second. Steve Boniface now, number 55, also on a KTM, currently running in 4th place.
That was a good line. Coming all the way wide, he crossed over all the ruts, kept his momentum up. Battle for 5th, so we don't have to say 7th much longer, and he's got the inside right here, so forget it.
Ryan Hughes is right behind them, so it'll be interesting to see if Ryan Hughes can hold up and stay with James Stewart for a while.
Thought James was going to triple that. He was one of the only ones doing it last year.
James Stewart currently running in 5th, whipping the biker and just muscling the 125 around, and that leads a lot of people to think, throw this kid on a bigger bike.
Yeah, the bigger bike might throw him around. You never know. It did it to Ricky, and it did it to Pastrana. It's not that easy of a jump, but I don't think he hasn't already been riding a 250 a little bit. That was his block path. At the same time that was going on, look at Gosler out to the very right under the trees, getting passed by Boniface, and that was the 2nd time in a row that Gosler has gone wide right there. It's a line obviously he's comfortable with, but he's given up a position each time. Both those times to a KTM rider.
James Stewart only 4 seconds behind the leader, so no panic in the Kawasaki camp right now. Is number 259. Gets another tear off, casually makes his way to the inside line, back on the throttle. He's running right next to the KTM rider, number 55, Steve Boniface, and just like that, passed him. What do you say? I mean, what do you tell Steve Boniface? Nothing he can do.
Just try to stay as close as you can to the guy. You know, whatever line he takes, take it. When he whips it over like that, whip it over like, copy him. Exactly copy what he does. And you should be able to get pretty close. This was coming into the section. Boniface messed up at the beginning, which made it a little bit easier for James. This was pretty routine right here, but the straightaway before the right-hander back there, James reached up under full power through the ruts and soft stuff and took his time to get a tearaway, to make sure he just pulled one, not the whole stack. I don't know, you ride enough. Isn't it hard to ride through this stuff one-handed?
I have to keep both hands on the wheel at all times where I've got problems. I don't worry about a tear-off. Although James does have a good system with the Oakley, the way they stack it like that, he can get one at a time and stack 8 deep. And look at him. He's putting on a show.
This is all fun for him.
Kelly Smith is your leader. James Stewart is now in second place. I had to check the monitor real quick. In second place, right on the back of Kelly Smith, just moved past Grant Langston. And you've said this before, it is not like James Stewart is out there racing with nobody. These guys are all top-notch. He's just top-notch plus a notch.
Yeah, and they can go, well, we didn't get to start, you know, Brown and some of the guys that were further back in the first moto. And he didn't get that great of a start either. He was able to do a lot more with it in the first few laps and get into the lead. And even when they were all in the clear, their lap times were nowhere near what his were. You know, 3 and 4 seconds a lap slower sometimes. That's just getting outclassed. And look at this. I mean, whatever you see as a viewer, whether you're experienced or not, you can go, oh, it'd be cool if the guy would cut. Oh, okay, he did. You know, but when you watch other people ride, other riders, they don't always do what you're thinking they should have done. With James, he always does. Plus a little bit, as you can see from that shot. Langston, same jump, didn't look the same, wasn't quite as fast, and then that just sets up this move. So James, he's at work all the time, and if it's not something that's creating a pass or a bigger lead, it's just shock value. That's why people like Stanton and myself and O'Mara and Hannah all watch this kid in disbelief, going, you know, we were good, but we weren't that good.
Kawasaki has one in the pits and one in the lead. Back at Redbud in a moment. Welcome back to Redbud, Scott USA National from Buchanan, Michigan. Todd Harris along with David Bailey and Cameron Steele. This is the battle for 4th place, Moto number 2, 125 class. Steve Boniface, number 55, and Ryan Hughes, Rhino number 105, both men on a KTM. It looks like Rhino just T-bones his teammate.
Well, he had a good idea. I saw it. I was just like I was talking about before, watching Stewart. I'm going, okay, cut to the inside, Ryan. And he did, but Boniface just turned on a dime all of a sudden, and I think that if Ryan had any idea that he was going to do that, he wouldn't have gone in and made that move. That was an accident. He ran right over Boniface's leg, too. That's the same leg, the left side, that Rhino's nursing back from. So he understands what could have been the outcome there, and I'm sure he's sorry for it.
So Ryan Hughes goes into 4th place for Team KTM. They went from, as we look at it one more time, watch Boniface's left leg. Ooh, right over the ankle.
Yeah, then this was a couple of corners later where he's going, okay, let me get by this guy before anything like that happens again. Boniface, nicest guy in the world, great rider. But it just seems like whenever there's something weird happening on the track, he's involved. Either cutting across and taking somebody out or taking himself out, or somebody always has a story like, oh, this happened to me, and Boniface, it always seems to be something to do with Boniface. I don't think he's meaning to do that stuff, but I think the Rhino's glad to be by now.
Brock Sellards also getting by Steve Boniface. So Sellards now in 5th place. Boniface slides back, and yet another KTM rider is into the picture, and that's Metcalf, 123. So KTM, David, has gone from last year's Supercross season of losing Jeremy McGrath to having a full, stable, a solid contingent of riders here in the outdoor season in the 125 class, including Grant Langston.
Oh, Hughes goes down on his left side, so he's again maybe favoring that a little bit. There goes a few positions. Those could come back to bite him at the end of the year. Just slid out, and you can see he didn't put his leg out to save that. He's like, nope, I'll just slide, land on my hip.
A nice baseball slide, but that allows Brock Sellards and the other KTM riders to get past him. So Ryan Hughes slides back a bit. What do you know? Who's right behind him? He's got Craig Anderson in front of him, and his good friend Mike Brown right behind him.
You know, with Brown not able to get around Hughes the first moto, and might have the same thing happen this time, I wonder how much of that is Duke Finch keeping an eye on him, and how much of it is he's worried about what's going to happen the next time he tries to pass Rhino. I don't think Rhino's all that's water under the bridge just yet. It's really affecting Brown's results and allowing Stewart to catch up fast.
Meanwhile, Grant Langston sitting in 3rd, closing in fast on Kelly Smith. Kelly Smith takes the outside line, and Grant Langston slides in on a nice inside line and inherits 2nd place.
KTM crowd happy to see that. There's a bunch of, we used to think that the red coats were the dominant team out there. Now it's the orange coats. And there's so much KTM going on out there in this class. It's unbelievable.
Right now, let's send it down trackside in Cameron Steele.
Well, Brownie's up on the tail of Ryan Hughes. How close do you think the AMA is watching right now?
To be honest with you, I really can't tell you the truth there because, you know, they've put all that beside and behind them at Bud's Creek. They're going to race to pass each other. And Mark's going to try and get around Rhino, but now that Grant Langston's lying in second, they're going to probably try and keep him far back as possible, but it's racing, you know, and having a great day, so we'll see how it goes.
Well, for Ryan Hughes, the good news is he's got a teammate, Brett Metcalf, 123 on board a KTM right behind him. Mike Brown trying to find a way to get around. And we remind you that Mike Brown is the overall leader right now, but he is way back in the pack in 8th place. And with the emergence of James Stewart, really, Dave, this thing has opened up wide open for about 4 or 5 riders.
Yeah, it's just these guys, I'll go ahead and lay some money down on Stewart winning this title if things continue the way they have for the past 2 weekends, because the guys that are leading this thing, the guys that are leading this thing right now they're falling all over themselves during the motos. They're not getting the points they need to get, and it's exactly what James needs to be able to win the title. If he doesn't win it, it's going to be very close.
Well, as they come around one more time, there's your running order. James Stewart out in front, Grant Langston and Kelly Smith in third. We're back to Red Bud in just a moment. And we are back to Red Bud for the final lap of the Scott USA National 125 class number 259. Going back to the future, changing over to the 03 gear, giving the 04 gear a little rest. And I don't know what you call this, Dave, a little parade lap, a little showtime. This kid is unbelievable with a 37-second lead.
It'd be a lot bigger than that if he wanted it to be, but I think he's just having fun out there, enjoying winning motos. And, you know, there won't be any pressure for a while like this. It'll just be have victory laps and enjoy winning, but about 4 more races, it's all going to change.
The chase is on. James Stewart tries to win every moto from here on out. He picks up the victory here in the overall at Red Bud. A dominating performance going 1-1 for number 259, James Bubba Stewart. What a great day as we take a look at the Honda official results. It's Stewart, Langston, Smith, and Sellards, your top finishers. Ryan Hughes finishes 6th, but more importantly, he finishes ahead of Mike Brown. And it looks like Grant Langston is also a serious contender for this thing. Right now, let's send it down to Cameron Steele, who's with our winner.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, continuing his whooping on the other riders, James Stewart back in action for the second race. James, unbelievable ride today. Was there anything that bothered you at all?
No, you know, being here at Red Bud was great. You know, I had a great time, and you know, I got a good jump on the start, and I guess I hit neutral or something. I missed the shift, and got a horrible start, and you know, got around those guys the first couple laps. It just took my time. Those guys was all over the place, and it was kind of slippery out there. And you know, I think Sorby went down the first lap, and him and somebody else tangled. But you know, got up to a decent lead. Pulled out, and I flew it out back there. Just kind of lost focus. My bad. And you know, came back and pulled out to a 35-second lead.
The points. That's what we want to talk about now. You've got 100 points now. Can you catch Brownie? Is it something you're focusing on, or even Langston? Both those guys had a tough first moto. Langston having a good moto here, but you're focusing on this championship as well, right?
Yeah, you know, I'm trying to get a lot of points out there. And, you know, I'm catching up a lot. I got, I don't know how many points from Brown today. They're good, and I got a lot on them last week. So, you know, it can happen, but, you know, I'm just trying to go out and win some races and see what happens then.
Unbelievable job today, James. Great job.
Thanks, Cameron. I'd like to thank my team Chevy Trucks, Kawasaki, Fox, Oakley, Bridgestone, my mom and dad, my brother, Malcolm. He's out racing right now. Good luck. Kirsten, Lou, and everybody. Thanks.
A long list of folks that gets the champ there as we take a look at the Honda official overall results. It's Stewart, Sellards, Smith, Langston, and Hughes top 5. So Hughes in a great position right now. Let's go back down to Cameron Steele. He is with our second place finisher on the day. That, of course, the man from Ohio on the Yamaha, Brock Sellards.
Well, Brock at 2-4 for second overall. Not a bad day, but it seemed like you were going back and forth in that second moto. What was going on?
I got a pretty good start, and Grant kind of cut me off. And I was surrounded by KTMs, and they all ended up passing me at one stage or the other. So I went back, and then I caught back up and caught back past them all. So other than Grant, but he had a big lead. So I came back to 4th, which I knew I had to get the second overall. So I pushed as hard as I could.
I lost track at the end of the moto, but somewhere around towards the end there, a couple laps ago, there's 15 bikes. The first 15 bikes, I should say, they were all factory bikes except for yours. Tell the people at home what kind of disadvantage it is to be on a privateer machine.
You know, I've got a good bike. Yamaha and the Yoshimura, Bakuhatsu motors build me a great bike. But, you know, I don't have the level of support that they do coming here to the track. You know, I'm doing a lot myself, and, you know, I've got a great mechanic, Scott Baczynski, that's helping out and doing a great job. But, you know, a lot of times it's just us two, and except for, you know, hometown race like this, get my family involved.
Right on, great job. We're hearing rumors of a factory Kawasaki ride next year. Care to comment on that?
Yeah, pretty sure I'm going to be switching to the 4-stroke and introduce that bike for them, do a lot of testing, and I think it'll be a good program.
Great job today.
Thanks.
Yeah, well, I want to congratulate Kelly as well. He's going to do a great job on that 4-stroke. Not only gets good starts, but he stays up there nowadays. And look at the top 3 in the series. Stewart just picked up 17 on Langston, 21 on Ryan Hughes, and 23 on the points leader. He keeps chipping away like that. He could be the new champion.
Well, that'll wrap things up from Redbud. On behalf of the champ, David Bailey and Cameron Steele, I'm Todd Harris saying so long. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For more, log on to ESPN.com. So long from Michigan.